Now the Giants won the toss and they elected to defer, which is interesting in and of itself, because you normally don't want to put the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands right off the bat, but that will be the case here as Brown's kickoff is dropped and then down in the end zone by Ty Montgomery. And let's take a look at the Green Bay starters.
Aaron Rodgers, Cal.
Eddie Lacy, Alabama.
Jordy Nelson, Kansas State.
Randall Cobb, Kentucky.
Devontae Adams, Fresno State.
Richard Rodgers, Cal Berkeley.
David Bakhtiari, University of Colorado, Boulder.
Lane Taylor, Oklahoma State.
J.C. Tretter, Cornell University.
T.J. Lang, Eastern Michigan. Brian Balaga, Iowa.
And the one guy missing up front, the longtime guard Josh Sitton, who was surprisingly let go before the season started and now with Chicago. And Rodgers, short drop, surveying and scanning and extending the play as he does so brilliantly, and then hits Cobb on the outside. He gets taken down after a gain of 5 by the cornerback Leon Hall. It'll be second down.
Al, you hit it right on the button. The difference between these two quarterbacks, they're about the same when they throw on time and on rhythm, but the difference is that Aaron Rodgers and his ability to buy time, run around, move around, make plays outside the pocket. So many of the big plays of this Packers offense comes when he does that.
And of course we saw that in spades last year, a Hail Mary to beat Detroit, and then a double Hail Mary to send a playoff game against Arizona into overtime. And on 2nd and 4, they give it to Lacy, and Lacy is a little bit short of the first down. Kennard makes the tackle. Aaron Rodgers, people said, oh, he had an average year last year. Yeah, 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I guess for him that's average. At home here, 48 and 12. 5th best in the history of the league, minimum of 50 starts. So tough here, so tough, of course, on the road. Has a Super Bowl ring, has been an MVP, and leads them up here on 3rd down on a short 1.
Come down. Win 18.
And they give it to the fullback. Going straight ahead is Ripkowski. He takes the place that John Kuhn so aptly fulfilled for so many years. Ripkowski, the new fullback, and a first down for Green Bay.
Well, most of you know that Josh Sitton went to the Bears before the season, but I tell you, watch these guys and the movement they get right up front. There's center J.C. Tretter, T.J. Lang. He only hasn't been to the Pro Bowl. Probably the most ridiculous part of that Pro Bowl. There's a few ridiculous parts, but there's some really good players that have never seen it.
From the 38-yard line.
5-2, Oscar. 19.
And a toss. Lacy, no room there, but stays on his feet and just brute strength up to the 42-yard line. Let's take a look at the Giant defense.
Jason Pierre-Paul, South Florida.
Damon Harrison, D. William Penn University.
Jonathan Hankins, The Ohio State University.
Olivier Vernon, the U.
Devon Kennard, USC.
Kelvin Shepard, LSU.
Jonathan Casillas, New Brunswick High School. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, Tennessee State.
Landon Collins, Alabama.
Andrew Adams, UConn.
Janoris Jenkins, North Alabama.
Jenkins, one of several new Giants. They went out and spent a ton to revamp the defense. Off the play fake, Rodgers, a ton of time against the grain, deep downfield, and the pass is incomplete, and everybody in Lambeau says, where is the flag? So does Rodgers. 65,000 plus booing, incomplete.
Here we go. On the outside, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie is going to follow Nelson. Is it tangled feet or something more? Probably just tangled feet. I think that was a good no call. I'm very much in the minority in this stadium, though. But Al, it's kind of interesting, don't you think, that so far we have seen Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers go back to the huddle, not the hurry-up pace. So many times in these games, they come out very quickly in the no huddle.
3rd down and 6. Rodgers, a master at drawing teams offside. And on 3rd and 6, over the middle, they convert to Randall Cobb. I said before, 65,000 fans are booing. I'm not counting the 16,000 or so Giant fans that I suspect are in the building tonight.
Going to end up with just a little move here as they bring the pressure off the edge, and they just lose coverage on the outside. Nobody found Randall Cobb when they were coming with that blitz.
5-7.
Now you've got Montgomery lining up in the backfield. Run back man wide out as well, but he also plays the tailback spot as he does here, and he will not go very far and gets dragged backwards by JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul, after a gain of 1, 2nd and 9.
There's been a lot of conversations about these two guys on the outside, but Jason Pierre-Paul there, Olivier Vernon on the other side. They only have 1 sack each, but those two guys are probably both top 5 defensive ends, overall play. They've been outstanding. In my mind now, the big question has been the number of snaps that they've had. They just hardly ever get off the field, and we haven't seen all the explosiveness that you can see in the past.
And that may speak to depth. Now Rodgers is able to, at least for the moment, we feel, draw them offside. We'll see, and he does. And they stop the play before he has a free throw. That's Jonathan Hankins.
Defense, number 95. 5-yard penalty. It's 2nd down.
Ed Hockley makes his first call of the night. It'll be 2nd and 4.
Well, they say watch the ball, and you can't be a whole lot closer to seeing the ball than that. Jonathan Hankins basically just going on Rodgers' hard count, and you could see there was no head bob, there was no, but they practice their cadence. They have about 8 or 9 different cadences that they use, and basically defensive lines fear that snap count.
Now you've got Cobb lined up as the tailback. Ripkowski is the fullback, and a little toss to Cobb. Spin move, but he loses his balance because of it. Tackled there by Vernon. So Randall Cobb, he broke into the league, and he broke in with a splash as a rookie. Had a really good second year. He's now in his 6th year, but he's tailed off of it. And the question becomes, you know, where is he now in his career? They keep expecting him week after week. We got to get Cobb going. You know, will this be the week?
Well, I think when they lost Jordy Nelson, they lost some of the deep threats on the outside because he's much more of a work the middle of the field kind of receiver. So without those deep threats, much tougher on him.
3rd and 4. Rodgers fires over the middle, and it's complete to Jordy Nelson, coming off the ACL surgery that cost him all of last year. He's already scored 4 touchdowns in 3 games, and that's another Packer first down.
You know I'm a fan of the left tackle, David Bakhtiari. Olivier Vernon got big money to be a pass rusher, and Bakhtiari, those quick feet, too much that time for Olivier Vernon.
And now they go without a huddle here, but not a hurry up.
We 19.
From the 36-yard line. Hand it off to Lacy, and Lacy cannot find room to the outside again. That's Jason Pierre-Paul, who drags him down after a gain of 2. 2nd down at 8.
Jason Pierre-Paul is pretty remarkable. Coming back, and he's got the injured right hand. We all know about that. But watch him just reach out basically with one arm and tackle a 250-pound running back. We met with him the other night. He says, yes, it still hurts. There's no question it bothers me, but you just kind of learn to live with the pain, and that time no problem bringing down the big back.
Lost 1 finger, parts of 2 others in that firecracker incident the last time he was in Florida on the 4th of July 2 years ago, and that's caught by Cobb, who gets taken down after picking up the first down. Leon Hall chases him down. Another first down for Green Bay. That's their 4th on this drive already.
Watch how Aaron Rodgers sells this fake. Watch this. Here he's going to go. Watch his head. He's just going to look, oh, it's a nice run. Okay, and then all of a sudden he comes out. That extra little second or 2 that he carried out that fake is what got Cobb open.
So already they've had the ball for 7 minutes. The ball is at the 17-yard line. Eddie Lacy will be the back here. Balance with 6 runs and 5 passes so far. This the 12th play of the drive. Rodgers fires a little high and almost picked off at the 8-yard line. Intended for Davante Adams, and that was Janoris Jenkins who got his hands on it.
Davante Adams is not used to seeing a ball miss that high. He thought there was somebody behind him. He basically let that ball go. You just don't see Aaron Rodgers miss like this. Watch Adams. He almost pulls his arms down, thinking that's got to be for somebody else. And Jenkins almost got it. Janoris Jenkins, another one of those guys working for Steve Spagnuolo, got big money in the offseason, and he is under pressure in this one.
Spagnuolo's defense looking for its first interception of the season. 2nd and 10. Great protection for Rodgers into the end zone, and that's batted away. Intended for the tight end. That was Richard Rodgers, the intended receiver, and batted away by Keenan Robinson. 3rd down.
Some play by Keenan Robinson on this one right here. This looks like one of those back shoulders, touchdown all day, just reaches around and gets his hand on it. So back to back, either great plays or great opportunities, but now is the 3rd down. Now is the money down for this Giants defense in the red zone. Hold them to 3 and you feel like you're a winner.
3 for 3 are the Packers on 3rd down of this drive. 3 receivers set to the right.
Spagnuolo loves these pressure situations, and Rodgers didn't like what he saw.
Timeout, Green Bay. So this is the 14th play of the drive. Starks is in the backfield. It's a 3rd down and 10. They're 3 of 3 on 3rd downs on this drive. And Rodgers, great protection, dancing and looking, and still, then he escapes. He looks for the 1st down and gets it. Well, what do you do with him? If you can't get to him, you give him all day. Even if the secondary does its job, there he goes with his legs.
There's really nothing you can do. On his left, Aaron Rodgers, the receiver, was going to turn and run up into the end zone. The minute he saw the back turn of Casillas, nobody there, just a backbreaker of a player is Aaron Rodgers. Here's all the coverage on the outside, but there's nothing that Aaron Rodgers likes more than to hold the ball, give his guys a chance to break open, and then the one that just destroys teams, his ability to run. It hurt the Detroit Lions last week.
Bakhtiari buried his man, the left tackle, to open the space for him. Now they give it to Lacy, and he gets about half the distance to the goal. So it's 2nd down and goal. We said, Chris, it was interesting how the Giants won the toss and deferred, and you're playing with fire when you give the ball to Aaron Rodgers in the 1st quarter.
And the really interesting part for me here is they're not doing the hurry up offense, and so you wonder, is Mike McCarthy now playing to the fact that he's missing his 2 starting corners and just wanting to keep his offense on the field and play keep away from Eli Manning?
Hey, Rob.
2nd and goal. 16th play of the drive, 6.5 to go in the quarter. Catching it is Jordy Nelson for the touchdown. Rodgers going all the way to his right. Nelson with a full stretch and his 5th touchdown of the season.
And Eli Apple, working with a bad hamstring, really has not practiced much at all, but there has been some magic. That is touchdown number 5, and we're just begun the 4th game of the season. I don't know that anybody fully understood the impact of Jordy Nelson to Aaron Rodgers in this offense, but since he has returned, it is like they have awakened.
They led the league, the Packers did, in scoring back in 2014. They were 15th last year. Here's Crosby for the point after. And the Green Bay Packers open the game with 6 first downs, convert 4 for 4 on 3rd down, run off 16 plays, and lead the Giants 7-0. This is Dwayne Harris from 3 yards in the end zone, and the former Dallas Cowboy gets taken down up at the 31-yard line and gives us a chance to take a look at the Giants offense.
Eli Manning, Ole Miss.
Orleans Darkwa, Tulane.
Odell Beckham Jr., LSU.
Sterling Shepard, Oklahoma.
Victor Cruz, Massachusetts.
Will Tye, Stony Brook.
Eric Flowers, All About the U. Justin Pugh, Syracuse.
Weston Richburg, Colorado State.
John Jerry, Ole Miss.
Bobby Hart, Florida State.
Bobby Hart taking the spot normally occupied by Marshall Newhouse, inactive tonight. And the Giants begin on the ground with Orleans Darkwa picking up about 4. Eli Manning, he's just shy of a couple of milestones. His next regular season win will be number 100. 2 more touchdown passes puts him at 300. course, as Chris mentioned, the top 2 huge victories here in postseason in 07 and 11, leading to Giants Super Bowl wins on both occasions. At the 48, there's Beckham making the catch. So Odell Beckham, I tell you what, this guy, he had a better chance to wind up on the cover of Psychology Today than on Sports Illustrated. I thought Freud was coming out of the grave to weigh in on Beckham.
And you know the amazing part about it, it really wasn't a foul what led to that entire conversation this week. The officials around him handled it perfectly. The flag came out of center field.
Here's Darkwa picking up just 1. Of course, that came on top of the confrontation that he always has with Josh Norman the week before, the frustration on the sideline, hitting the kicking net and then the net banging off his head. And a lot went on last week, but he seemed to really get it all together, became far more placid. We talked to him in the meeting yesterday, and he's ready to have a big night.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
you don't know.
See. Yeah, you just don't know. 2nd and 9. Manning, and he has that one knocked down at the line of scrimmage. And so Manning goes down. Pass goes down. Eli has to readjust his shoulder pad, and it's 3rd down and 9.
Yeah. LaTroy Guion's going to come just right up the middle and get his hands on this one. I couldn't tell if it was intercepted or not, or for a little while it sort of just floated between their face masks. And now it's up to Eli to convert on a 3rd down and long the way Aaron Rodgers did.
Nick Perry got there as well, number 53. Now you got Bobby Rainey in the backfield. The Giants minus what would be their 2 top running backs in Jennings and Vereen. Vereen is gone for the year. 3rd and 9. And Manning throws on the run, and it's out of bounds. So that's incomplete. And so after the Packers have the ball for almost 8.5 minutes, the Giants have the ball for 1:47 and are forced to punt.
And brought a little slot blitz off the edge. In this game, the Packers are going to be playing Micah Hyde more as the nickel back, a safety who has a full understanding of how to get pressure on the quarterback. They took advantage on that 3rd and long.
Brad Wing to punt. Trevor Davis, a rookie from Cal, is back there and says let it go. And Harris downs it at the 15, and a flag is down. Flag is down at about the 41-yard line of the Packers. So Ed Hockley will check with the official who threw it. Let us know what's going on.
During the kick, holding by the receiving team, number 88. A penalty will be enforced half the distance to the goal from where the kick was caught. 1st down.
Ty Montgomery. But Green Bay has the ball again and up 7-0 over the Giants. Aaron Rodgers has been the Green Bay starter since 08. That was his 4th year in the league. He's the improviser for sure. You get him outside the pocket. Look at those numbers, all the most in the NFL. 64 touchdown passes. He scrambles. He's run for 13 touchdowns as well. So you give him time, he will kill you, as he did on that first drive. And now he has the ball backed up in his own territory at the 8-yard line with 4:21 to go in the opening quarter.
I almost wanted to do the math and calculate how much more coverage time opponents have when Aaron Rodgers is playing than an ordinary quarterback. About 2.5 seconds is ordinarily when you have to get it off. I bet you he doubles that in almost every game.
We're good. We 19.
And the Giants blitz, and Lacy avoids the blitz and gets to the outside and picks up about 12 yards. Eddie Lacy, they almost got him in the backfield. Keenan Robinson was blitzing on the play, and Lacy says, take this, 1st down.
For Eddie Lacy, this is exactly what they're looking for. In the game, their last appearance against the Detroit Lions, they thought there were too many times that he was sort of danced around a little bit in the hole. They're trying to convince him that, yes, you are 250 pounds. Use it occasionally.
Through the middle again, huge hole, and that's another 12-yard gain. Aaron Ripkowski, the fullback, helping to lead the way. So back-to-back 1st downs from the feet of Eddie Lacy.
J.C. Treader, one of the quicker centers in the game, and that reach block right there, so difficult to get when he's on the play side shoulder of the center. There's only a handful of guys that can consistently get that, and Tretter has been very good.
Packers running their 19th play of the quarter. Quick toss outside to Rodgers, to Richard Rodgers. Rodgers to Rodgers. That's Landon Collins making the tackle. Gain of 6.
Aaron Rodgers at the Improv. Let's take a look. You've got Rodgers in the backfield. You have to cover 2 different plays. Here's play number 1. They've got it covered. Good job, Giants. But as soon as all that starts to happen, here comes play number 2. You had to cover for 5.72 seconds, more than double what the ordinary quarterback you have to cover.
Hey, where y'all going? 9-1.
Where y'all going?
That's 2nd and 4. That is caught in between defenders, Davante Adams, and he takes the ball into New York territory. Kennard finally makes the tackle, gain of 18.
Was that Rodgers talking to the defense there?
It was.
Where y'all going? Well, for Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah, Jenkins is hurt. He's shaken up, injury timeout. So they have Jenkins, the former Ram. Eli Apple is back in there now, supplanting him at that spot. And Rodgers on 1st and 10 will go right to work in that area, and this time it is Jordy Nelson who can't make the play. Apple covering. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
And that's strictly a read right there. Anytime Apple really got in pretty good position this time, and both Nelson and Rodgers knew it, so he threw it back shoulder and went right to it. I would have to see Eli Apple, who's had the hamstring problem, I would have to see him cover deep. If I were playing this game right now, especially not knowing what's going to go on with Jenkins, you want to see Eli Apple sprint 50 yards down the field a few times and see exactly how he's holding up.
Fake to Lacy. Cobb on a screen, gets some blocking, picks up 8, gets it to the 38-yard line. Pierre-Paul is there. 3rd down and 2 for the Packers.
I'll tell you, there are some athletic offensive linemen here for the Green Bay Packers. Bakhtiari and J.C. Tretter both got out in front of this thing very quickly. It's one thing to run these wide receiver screens. It's another thing to run them when you've got athletes like that playing on the offensive line to go set up Randall Cobb.
3rd and 2. The Packers already have 9 first downs in the quarter. Off the fake. Rodgers fires. That's a 10th first down. That's Cobb making the catch. That moves the sticks to the 25-yard line.
JPP almost took off the head of Richard Rodgers coming across the formation here, and it probably is the thing that cost him the ability to come and get him. Watch him come off the edge, and Rodgers trying to go out on a route. Jason Pierre-Paul took care of that, but didn't allow for the quick pressure.
5-7.
Jenkins is back in. He's at the bottom of the screen. Running play to the inside. Eddie Lacy. Eddie Lacy already has carried 7 times for 40 yards. When Lacy came into the league, highly heralded. Good rookie season. Then, of course, all of the talk last year was that he was overweight, and they sat him down for a while, and they put him on a diet, and he's off to a great start this season. Number 2 pick out of Alabama back in 13.
Yeah, and he's playing against his old high school teammate, right? Landon Collins of the Giants, number 21. So it's going to be a little weird going up against a guy I played in high school and college with.
Now they have Starks in the backfield flanking Rodgers. He stays in the block, and they flare him out, and it's off his hands. So Starks had a lot of room to roam, and he's obviously pretty upset with himself. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
Oh, he had a walk-in. He had 2 offensive linemen, both outside the anything on that side. Let me see, going this way. And they're going to have this wall set up, look like a punt return going down that boundary. There was nobody left.
And here they go quickly on 3rd and 6, and over the middle, Cobb makes the catch. 2 flags on the play. 2 flags, but for the moment, Cobb is in the end zone. There's a flag at the 14. There's a flag at the 22 on the far side of the field. Big Six official conference going on right now. And Hockley having a little sidebar here. He's an attorney.
Well, definitely, the Giants definitely look like they had an extra guy on the field. I don't know if there's something to offset that or not.
There were fouls by both teams on the play.
Yep.
There was an Eagles shift by the offense. All 11 were not set for a second. There was also 12 men on the field by the defense. Those penalties offset. Replay 3rd down.
He gets it together, so no touchdown. 3rd and 6, back we come.
All right, couldn't quite get off the field there, and now let's see if they really got set. The officials said no to that. Heck of a play by Randall Cobb. That was a great move he put on Leon Hall there. And we do have Janoris Jenkins back in the game.
It would have been Cobb's first touchdown of the season. And on 3rd down and 6 now, Rodgers being protected very well, and then it's intercepted, deflected, and then Jenkins intercepts it, and Janoris Jenkins will bring it out to the 29, and a flag is down on the run back. Jordy Nelson couldn't handle it. There's another flag that comes in at the very end, and so Rodgers throws a very rare Lambeau pick. And that'll be the final play of the quarter, and we'll wait for the penalty to be assessed, or penalties.
All flags were clearly after the interception, though.
That is going to be the first interception of the season for the Giants. Took them 17 quarters to pull it off.
Boy, did they need that, though. It was just looking too easy for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers going up and down the field.
There was only one foul on the play. That was by the Giants after the interception. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness by number 54 against the quarterback. It's a 15-yard penalty, will be enforced from the dead ball spot. The Giants keep the ball, 1st down.
It's Olivier Vernon. That's the end of the first quarter. Green Bay leading 7-0. And Sunday Night Football from Green Bay continues after these messages. 7-0. Green Bay dominating the first quarter, but the big pick there gives the Giants the ball after the penalty. Moves them back to the 14 to start this drive. Giants have had the ball for only 5 plays. The Packers for 26. And Manning fires over the middle, and that's Beckham making the catch. A flag is down as he makes the catch up at the 30-yard line. And the Giants are coming back.
Holding, offense number 74. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat 1st down.
Go back and look at a couple of things. Number 1 is the interception off the hands of Jordy Nelson and into the hands of Jenkins, who had to come out of the game for a couple of plays when he was shaken up. And here's the penalty on Vernon for knocking Rodgers down.
And I thought the rule was that as long as the quarterback doesn't pursue the ball, you can't hit him. But if he does pursue to make a tackle, you could hit him. But I'm sure there's some nuance off of that, too.
1st and 17. And this is Darkwood going next to nowhere. Meanwhile, the Cobb would-be touchdown was nullified because the Packers weren't set. You go back here, look at the top of the screen.
They're all moving, and you'll see Davante Adams is going to take a little step back. They're all sort of still getting shuffled, and because everybody wasn't set for a full second, that one brought the touchdown back.
Now it's 2nd down and 16 from the 8-yard line. And that's Bobby Rainey. And he'll work his way up to the 17. And let's take a look at the Packer starters.
Latroy Guyana, Bradford High School Tornadoes.
Mike Daniels, Iowa.
Nick Perry, USC.
Jake Ryan, Michigan.
Blake Martinez, Stanford.
Clay Matthews, USC.
Quentin Rollins, Miami, Ohio.
Morgan Burnett, Georgia Tech.
Clinton Dix, the University of Alabama.
Darius Gunner, U. Micah Hyde, University of Iowa.
Mike McCarthy singling out Gunter the other day as a guy who has been a very pleasant surprise for the Packers. It's 3rd down and 7. Eli in the pocket, fires, and Beckham makes the catch out to the 33-yard line. So he had the penalty nullifying his last grab. Not this time. Rollins is there, and Beckham has now caught 2 for 29 yards.
Yeah, they're trying to play this 2-man outside, but remember now they are missing their 2 starting corners, and Quentin Rollins, who is really probably their 3rd cornerback, is now forced into one-on-one coverage against one of the great players in the league.
Manning 3 for his first 5 for 38 yards. Look out. Knocked down in the backfield. Clinton Dix knocks down Bobby Rainey. Loss of 1.
Clinton Dix has been doing a lot of stuff up, back, and then comes back up and makes the play again. That last guy off the edge, you just can't tell what he's trying to do out there, and having that kind of activity from the free safety, think of Troy Polamalu, really disturbs things for an offense.
And this will be stopped at the outset here because Bobby Hart started to back up at right tackle. It's a false start. It'll be 2nd and 16.
So penalties on both tackles
false start.
now.
Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty. It's 2nd down.
Marshall Newhouse inactive, so one of the starters is out. The Giants have been besieged by penalties in their last 2 games, losses to Washington and to Minnesota, and there is Newhouse. They hope to have him back next week when they meet Baltimore.
And Eric Flowers, way too many penalties. Other than defensive backs, he has become the holding king so far at that left tackle position.
2nd and 16 as Manning goes over the head of Beckham. Started to cut it in, then ran it to the boundary, and the pass too high. 3rd down and 16.
Just can't miss that one. That's a gimme. You've got Odell Beckham wide open in a cover 2 hole. Nice play call is going to get you out of a 3rd down and very long, and they just missed it.
Ben McAdoo, first year as the Giants coach in his 5th game. Last 2 years offensive coordinator. Before that for years, 8 years on the staff under McCarthy here in Green Bay as the tight ends coach first and then the quarterbacks coach, working with Rodgers every day. They throw it underneath, and that's caught by Rainey, and Rainey will be taken down up at the 36-yard line. So the penalty put them in a hole. They can't extricate themselves and are forced to punt on a 4th and 7.
They are doing all kinds of stuff with Clay Matthews out there. He came back from hamstring and ankle injuries, and you'll see him. He's going to loop all the way around. Mike Daniels is going to try and cause a little disturbance out here, maybe even grab and hold a little bit. And here comes Matthews. They have been doing a lot of different looks with him early in this game.
Brad Wing to punt. Trevor Davis, drafted in the 5th round from Cal Berkeley, ready to haul it in. And there's contact made there. And of course the flag comes down. Roger Lewis, number 82, running into the rookie Davis, and a little lesson on the sideline.
It was a good job by 28 Josh Hawkins not making contact here with
interference
Lewis.
with the opportunity to catch the ball by the kicking team, number 82. That's a 15-yard penalty enforced from the spot of the foul. Green Bay keeps the ball. 1st down.
So he did not block him into him.
Another bad penalty on the Giants. They've had a ton of them lately. Quickly to Michelle Tafoya.
Well, the Giants' thin secondary just got thinner, Al. Eli Apple and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie are both out with groin injuries. Al?
All right, thank you, Michelle. And Eli had a hamstring prior to that. So Jenkins is there. And you got Michael Hunter, a rookie out of Oklahoma State, a free agent, who now is in the secondary. And of course Rodgers will spot that immediately. has a ton of time. He's going to launch one all the way downfield into traffic, and it's batted away. Jordy Nelson was the intended receiver, and you had Andrew Adams back there with Jenkins.
One of the things you knew the Packers would do is go after the rookie safety, Andrew Adams, number 33. The general feeling is if you throw up a deep ball on a safety, your wide receiver is going to have the advantage over a safety trying to play like a cornerback. So they're just giving Jordy Nelson some opportunities, and that time Andrew Adams, with a little help from Janoris Jenkins, up to the task.
Cobb in the backfield. A little flip to him, but a little too far in front of him. And it will be 3rd down and 10. So, of course, the Packers are having to mix and match in their secondary with the rookies, and so are the Giants. Hunter a rookie. Adams a rookie with Apple and Dominique Cromartie out. Rodgers Cromartie. So Mike McCarthy in his 11th season. Of course, he knows his opposite number about as well as anybody, and vice versa.
Yeah, he hired him. He should.
3rd and 10 from the 32-yard line. Rodgers scrambles again to the outside. 1st down. Flag is down. Davante Adams. The flag is down all the way back at the 21-yard line. So well behind the line of scrimmage as Rodgers was rolling left.
Holding offense, number 69. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
And that's the left tackle Bakhtiari negating the 1st down.
Good matchup there. David Bakhtiari against Jason Pierre-Paul. See if we can pick up the hold here. Definitely chipping with Richard Rodgers. As he jumped, did he grab the jersey and pull him down? I guess. Hard to say.
Only the 2nd penalty against Green Bay, 5 against the Giants, who had 19 in their last 2 games. 3rd and 20. Again, they can't get to Rodgers. All day, all night, throws, and it's incomplete as Cobb tried to make the catch that would have been the 1st down. He had enough yardage. Adams is there covering 4th down.
Well, I can just tell you this. The Giants will lose tonight unless these pass rushers that have been paid so much money do better than this. They have to win on the edge with Jason Pierre-Paul, Olivier Vernon, Owa Digizuwa. Those guys cannot allow Aaron Rodgers to stand back there that long. They got away with it that time.
Giants only have 4 sacks in the 4 games thus far this season. Harris is back to receive the kick off the foot of Jacob Shum, former Tampa Bay Buck in his first year as the Packer punter. And this is a short bounding kick out of bounds. Crowd doesn't like it at the 41-yard line. They want Tim Mastay back. It'll be 1st down for the Giants when we come back. 7-0 Green Bay. Western Pennsylvania football hotbed. The coaches who have come from there include both guys tonight. Mike McCarthy, native of Pittsburgh. Ben McAdoo, his hometown, Homer City, Pennsylvania. And you look through the years, Marty Schottenheimer and Chuck Knox, Bill Cowher, Mike Ditka, Marvin Lewis, Mike McCarthy, Western PA head coaches with 100 or more regular season wins. And McCarthy, of course, helping pave the way for McAdoo to eventually get the Giants job. Ben, the 2nd youngest coach in the league at 39, 2nd to Adam Gase as Manning throws, and it's caught by Ty, the tight end, and Will Ty showing some bounce, takes it all the way down to the 28-yard line.
Taking advantage of the rookie linebacker Blake Martinez here. He comes up, play action fake on early down, and get it right behind him. These young linebackers have been doing an excellent job, and I think they're going to be terrific, but they are young, and the play action is holding them right now.
Ty gains 27, taking the spot of Larry Donnell, inactive tonight as he recovers from a concussion. Whoa. No gain here. Orleans Darkwa. 2nd down and 10. So it's funny how things work out. I mean, McCarthy had really no idea who McAdoo was. McAdoo winds up calling him, meeting him, and that leads to the two of them being in New Orleans together, San Francisco together, Green Bay together, and then, of course, Ben goes on to New York.
And there was a huge storm. He just basically called up blindly to McCarthy and said, hey, I want to present something to you. And he goes, who are you, basically? He got in the car and drove down and showed him who he was.
Pass is incomplete. That was over a decade ago when McCarthy was at the Combine in Indianapolis. At that point, McCarthy was in New Orleans as the offensive coordinator. Then that whole staff winds up getting bounced. He goes to San Francisco for 1 year, and McAdoo winds up going with him. Then Mike gets the job here and brings McAdoo here. McAdoo spent 8 years on the staff here as the tight ends coach and eventually the quarterbacks coach.
Like riding a hot jockey, right? You just stay with him. Ends up head coach in the NFL.
3rd and 11. The rookie Perkins is in the game. Send him out into the pattern, and then Beckham can't hold on as he was covered there by Quentin Rollins. So the Giants drive bogs down after the catch by Will Tye that gained 27. It's 4th down.
Eli doing a little Aaron Rodgers here. Watch him step up through the pocket here and buy a little time, and it allowed Odell Beckham, who was open, thrown just a little bit behind him. Maybe if that one's a little farther in front, might have been able to pick up the first down, but you have to continue working that one-on-one matchup with Quentin Rollins.
47-yard attempt for Josh Brown coming. And the Giants are able to get on the scoreboard with 3 here with 8:21 to play in the first half. Sunday Night Football from Lambeau Field, 7-3 Packers. Brown to kick off after the 47-yard field goal. Run back here, taken at the 2-yard line. Jeff Janis. And Janis coming back from a hand injury to the 20.
Well, you've seen both quarterbacks move around, but look at the similarities here. We're talking about Eli Manning, one of the quickest to get rid of the football. Aaron Rodgers takes much longer because of those scrambles and plays that he moves around. Here's the difference. They're both about the same, 2.5 seconds or less, but 2.5 seconds or longer. Look at the difference in the rating. 71 for Eli, 114, almost 115 for Aaron Rodgers, and that has been the difference in those two quarterbacks.
Rodgers showing some of that tonight, getting out of the pocket, extending every play, of great protection. Meanwhile, there is Lacy just bullying over people. Still on his way to even more yardage, and then finally a little scuffle ensues after he's taken out of bounds, but not until he picks up 31 yards.
Well, Richard Rodgers is going to get thrown to the side, but watch Eddie Lacy here bounce first outside, then back inside, and that allowed his offensive lineman to get back on their blocks. Usually he bounces outside way too much. I think he got a little lecture.
Now he comes the other way.
Whoa.
As they go without, it takes it to the 44, and it's Collins who winds up hitting him. The two guys who go all the way back.
I mean, this guy's a monster running down the field, and it's sort of interesting at the end of this play. Look at that stiff arm. It's his old buddy, his high school and college teammate, who comes up and makes the tackle, and you could tell that both these guys were a little uncomfortable with the fact they were finally going to be playing against each other.
2nd down and 4 at the 43-yard line. Starks now in the backfield. And they give it to him, and Starks cuts to the outside, and he will get a first down. Lacy's back up. Michael Hunter makes the tackle. First down. Going back to high school, Dutchtown High School in Louisiana. And then on they went to Alabama, playing there for Nick Saban. One the running back, the other, of course, the safety. And are flashing on the turf at Lambeau Field. Under 7 to go in the half. First down at the 38-yard line. And that's caught, and it's a 9-yard pickup for Devontae Adams. And Rodgers picking up the pace right now, going no huddle.
Yeah, and we're seeing Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, rotate some of these defensive linemen out We've got Kerry Wynn in the game, and they're trying to keep those guys fresh so they can get some of those explosive plays going. Looks like Olivier Vernon now lined up as an inside linebacker.
He's number 54.
That's him right there.
Check 30. 319. 319 up.
Second and 1. Rodgers down the sideline, caught into the end zone. Is he or not? Stopped at the 1. Devontae Adams. Michael Hunter is able to knock him out. 3 officials now confer. Rodgers thinks he got into the end zone, and he does. After the conference by the officials, the field judge signals, so does Hockley. Touchdown.
Well, it's almost not fair. Michael Hunter, who had only 9 snaps in the game against the Vikings, doing the best he can, but Adams got the ball in his left hand, which allowed it to stay inside the pylon. Nicely called by the officials, no doubt. That foot, you could see green still. Those pink shoes kind of help a little bit. Pink and then green and then white. That's a good sign.
So Mason Crosby comes in to tack on the extra point. Rodgers has thrown 2 touchdown passes tonight. That drive, 80 yards in 5 plays, and takes only 2 minutes and 20 seconds. 6 minutes to go in the half. It's now 14-3 Packers. Crosby's kick fielded by Harris at the goal line. Spins away, and Harris will get taken down over the 42-yard line. So it looked like he was going to be stopped deep in his own territory. It's Janis who is there to stop him and puts it out near midfield. Well, it's been all about Beckham this week, who said on Tuesday, football is my sanctuary. It's where I go to escape. It's where I'm most happy, but I'm not having fun. Manning said competitive, emotional, fiery, but you just have to control it. Right way to motivate and encourage your teammates, bring out the best, not the worst. Of course, that was the story every day and every night in the papers, on radio and TV, in Gotham and a few other places around the country. Darkwood to the outside. But tonight he's been very quiet. There's really not a lot going on in terms of what he's done on the field. He's caught 2 for 29 yards. You go back to what started it all last week, the penalty, Chris, in Minnesota.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a penalty at all. There was a little borderline late hit. He came back, reacted a little bit. The officials got between them. There are 3 officials. 1, 2, 3, all handling it perfectly right there. No problem, nothing going wrong. The flag came in from center field. My opinion, should have never been thrown.
Short for the telescope. And Manning throws it away. 3rd and 4.
Well, and of course, you know, Tom Coughlin said I can come in and help with Odell, and then it sort of started the whole thing. All right, who's really in control? You know, it does the whole thing, and it became a story beyond belief in New York during the course of the weekend. The positive thing is that I think Odell Beckham gets it now. You know, he had to get it. He was hurting his football team. Too many of those penalties, 15-yarders, the possibility they could have been ejected. He had to play differently. But I do think from talking to him, I thought he got it this week.
I did too. 3rd and 4. And that's behind the intended receiver, Sterling Shepard. First time the rookie from Oklahoma State or Oklahoma has been targeted tonight. So it's 4th down. There's Beckham's glove.
Just smile.
Just smile, huh?
And you know what? That was really good advice, because for Odell to blow up when somebody's doing something to throw him off his game, it sort of puts him at the level of the guy that's guarding him. If he just smiles on him, he says basically, hey, okay, I know you're desperate. You're trying to guard me. You've got no chance, right? That's the message that gets sent instead of blowing up.
Well, tonight it's been quiet. And Wings' kick is pulled in at the 14-yard line by Davis with 5:02 left in the half. Green Bay has the ball and an 11-point lead.
Well done. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie back in the game. The Giants earlier told us he was out with a groin injury. They said that was their mistake. He's going to continue to play through that injury that kept him out of week 4, Al.
All right, Michelle, you can see he's got his the wrap around his right upper thigh. So he comes back in, and Rodgers will begin this drive. There is Cromartie as Rodgers starts this one from the 14-yard line. Fake to Starks. Cobb in traffic, and he will get taken down from behind by Olivier Vernon, one of those very high-priced Giant acquisitions. About $200 million in contracts given to the Giants. Newcomers. About half of that guaranteed money, but Vernon played in Miami for a lot of years, and a lot of folks said, really?
Yeah, he's been playing with a wrist injury, too, that's been hurting him a bit. But not quite the production maybe they were looking for out of the pass rush.
Look at that protection. 2nd and 6, and flag is on the field, and Pierre-Paul will chase him out of bounds. But the Giants, they haven't gotten close to Rodgers tonight in the pocket.
Yeah, no, they really haven't. And, you know, you've got that kind of money invested in those 2 outside pass rushers. One of the problems is they get no pressure whatsoever out of their interior guys either, though. Harrison, Hankins. No push means that the quarterback can step up and run like Aaron just did.
Holding by the defense, number 20, before the quarterback started to scramble. That 5-yard penalty is tacked on at the end of the run. First down.
And that's on Jenkins. Here he is.
It's like maybe he grabbed the back of his jersey or shoulder pads and Adam said, get off. Jerry Reese and the New York Giants organization made the decision. Let's go get some defensive help. It was a really tough year for the Giants defensively last year.
Gave up 420 yards per game, worst in the league. And again, look at that time, and Rodgers all day and all night, and then it is Nelson. He never had it in his grasp. It's incomplete. Hit there by Landon Collins as the ball got there. So Jordy's dropped a couple tonight, very uncharacteristically. 2nd down.
There we go. We got David Bakhtiari over here, and TJ Lang's going to come out and help on Jason Pierre-Paul. They got him completely hoodwinked, and then Olivier Vernon working on Bulaga. Nothing. I mean, they can't win against Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers has been standing back there for 5, 6, 7 seconds, it seems like.
Hoodwinked is such a great word, isn't it? 2nd and 10 through the middle up to the 35-yard line goes James Starks with 3:45 to go in the half. You wouldn't hoodwink me, would you?
I don't know. Just making stuff up. You know, that Damon Harrison, though, the one thing he has been able to do for the Giants in this is play really solid football in there against the run. You know, you've got to start there. You can't allow a team to just pound you through the middle, and at least he has accomplished that for this defense this year.
Green Bay tonight averaging about over 5 yards per rush. Rodgers, well, this time a little bit of pressure, but no problem for Aaron to get out of the pocket, and then it is picked off. Or does he have it? He does. Janoris Jenkins on what would be his 2nd interception of the night. Goes to the ground. Obviously, they'll take a look at it on the replay, but Jenkins right now comes up with a huge pick.
Yeah, Devontae Adams turned and was pushing against Jenkins, and then the ball ended up being underthrown. You could tell that Adams thought he was going to throw it back inside. Jenkins able to recover, and his 2 interceptions, the only thing keeping this from being a complete blowout. Does he hold on to it?
Well, he has his arm under it, but just because it touches the ground doesn't mean he doesn't have control of it, and they have confirmed the interception. So that's a pair for the former Ram, one of those guys who got a ton of money. Both Rodgers picks tonight on 3rd down. Giants now at the 40. Can they cash in? And they start with a pass to Beckham, good for about 13 yards to the 27-yard line.
Well, and the other part of this is that the Packers are playing 2 deep safeties back in the middle of the field. So the Giants have to be able to run the football against that, or it's going to be tough throwing the ball down the field all night long. And really, this has just been the Odell Beckham show. Only one pass I can remember to either Victor Cruz or Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, one to Shepard. I don't remember any to Cruz. 1st and 10, and you've got that pass incomplete at the 20-yard line. And you talk about Victor Cruz not getting targeted. There he was, a guy who got hurt mid-season in 2014, missed all of last year as well as that season, and came back. He's going off to a pretty good start this year.
Yeah, he has, and it's really been great to see him work. He's working here against Ladarius Gunter, who I thought in the last couple of games played better than any of these other cornerbacks, and he's really come out of nowhere.
2nd and 10, looking for some room on the ground. Getting to the 22 goes Bobby Rainey. Signed him in April. Spent 3 years in Tampa. Remember that you're minus Rashad Jennings. He'll be back, they hope, next week. Vereen is gone for the season, Shane Vereen. So they're mixing and matching in that offensive backfield as we come upon the 2-minute warning. It'll be 3rd and 6. When we come back to Lambeau, it's 14-3 Green Bay. Big 3rd and 6 for the Giants here. Manning to the outside and incomplete. Sterling Shepard, the intended receiver, but Micah Hyde was there covering on the play. 4th down. They'll have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Yeah, this throw was behind Sterling Shepard. Micah Hyde, really sort of a safety in that position, I thought had pretty good position right there. We've seen Eli miss a few throws in key moments in this first half where he had people running open. That wasn't wide open, but there was an opportunity.
Brown, a 41-yard attempt, made one from 47 earlier, and that one is able to draw its way back in. Looked like it might be a little wide to the right. You can laugh now. It was close. 14-6, New York. Chris. Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Jeff Janis is back there. He was the guy who caught those 2 Hail Marys at the end of regulation in the playoff game at Arizona last January, only to see the Cardinals win the coin toss. Had to flip it twice and win the game before Green Bay ever saw the ball. And Janis is going to down it in the end zone. Crowd wanted him to come out with it, but he takes a knee. Talked about that Giant defense, the offseason spending spree. $203.75 in millions, and a little more than half of that guaranteed. And there is the guaranteed portion, with Vernon guaranteed over $52 million.
Yeah, tonight I would say Jenkins is the bargain and the others not yet. You know, I mean, the story of this game is the Green Bay Packers offensive line. They've been devastating. No pass rush to speak of, and Eddie Lacy is averaging about 10 yards a carry.
And Jenkins keeping him in the game with those 2 picks. So it's an 8-point game. Green Bay has 2 timeouts, and a little dump over the middle, and Starks looks back, and a little miscommunication there. Will be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, and you can tell what Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, is thinking here is, okay, we can't handle Aaron Rodgers, but we can handle the rest of these guys, and they are just trying to cover on the back end. Wow.
That's on a little pressure, and at the feet of Starks right there, and both guys are upset. 3rd and 10.
Damon Harrison almost got there on this one. Coming right up the gut here. That little pressure got down around Aaron Rodgers' knees, and I think it made him flinch a little bit to have somebody going down there. That was a pretty easy throw. Back-to-back easy throws now to Starks. They missed them both.
Cobb comes in motion to the near side. And Rodgers, a ton of time, but batted at the line of scrimmage and incomplete. That's Harrison right there. So Harrison put pressure on, gets a hand on that one, and it's 4th down.
Snacks has moved up to an hors d'oeuvre here. He's this is pretty good. You know, he's going right through there. Going to get his hands up. It's a huge play, and now give his offense one more chance.
An entree before the night is done. Line drive kick. Fielded at the 33, so Harris has a chance to do something with it. And it's a 7-yard return to the 40-yard line. From the 39-yard line on first down. Manning deep downfield and off the hands of Ty, who'd beaten his man, had gotten in front, might have sailed into the end zone, couldn't haul it in. Second down.
Oh, this is a walk into the end zone. Here we go, right off the edge. Oh my goodness, he kind of panicked a little bit and started turning sideways, but for Eli Manning, he's going to go into the halftime and beat his head against the locker. That is at least the 4th big play they have missed tonight.
Manning, he's going to get sacked, he's going to lose the ball, and Green Bay's going to recover it.
Unbelievable. They go from a walk-in touchdown to a sack, fumble, and put Aaron Rodgers back on the field.
And the good-looking rookie Kyle Fackrell came in, forced the fumble, and instead of maybe a 1-point game or even a tie game, if Ty gets into the end zone, it's an 8-point game in Green Bay in scoring position already.
I'm going to tell you, this Kyler Fackrell, keep an eye on him. I mean, they have good outside pass rushers. This young man is beginning to make a name for himself now. 2nd sack. He is applying very consistent pressure, and a game that looked like it might start tilting back towards the Giants just took a huge turn the other way.
So the rookie creates the fumble. Another rookie, Kenny Clark, who's the youngest player in the league, just 21. He recovered it. And Rodgers now on first down, being chased, gets away from Vernon, chased by Paul, and then just throws the ball out of bounds. Second down.
Everybody's stumbling around here afterwards. All right, let's take a look at big money on the outside. Olivier Vernon coming off the edge on Bulaga, gives him a good shot, gets pressure, but he escapes, as he always does. Jason Pierre-Paul, good pressure. So that's as good as you can ask, right? An ordinary human being at quarterback, and you got those two guys meeting at the quarterback and a sack and a big play, and instead it's just 2nd and 10.
Roger. 319. 319 up.
4-man pressure, give it to Starks. He has some room on the inside. Starks takes the ball to the 23-yard line. 3rd and 2.
Al, I tell you the other thing this hard count of Aaron Rodgers is doing, you're not seeing these outside pass rushers get their usual jump off the ball. You know, when they anticipate the snap count, they're all a little bit frozen, afraid to be the guy that jumps off sides and gives Aaron Rodgers a free play.
Rodgers, the master of the hard count. 3rd and 2. Checks it to the other side, and there's contact there, and a flag comes in. Devontae Adams. Yep, Trevin Wade, and they're going to call that one
offensive.
On the offense.
Yep, I thought that was the right call too.
But that comes after a 5-man conference.
Boy, I tell you, this is an interesting decision here, though. Assuming it is offensive, if you want to make it 4th down and 2, or 3rd down and let Aaron take another shot.
Offense, number 17, grabbed the defender's jersey and pulled him back. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat 3rd down.
So you get the extra down by accepting the penalty. You now put them in a position where a field goal would be about 51 yards.
And Mason Crosby can make it from there. His career long is 58. But you do make it much more difficult. But if you turn around and give up a touchdown here,
yep,
not much fun going into halftime.
3rd down and 12.
Blue 58. Blue 58.
And Rodgers dancing around in the pocket, has to check it down to Starks. He gets to the 26, makes the field goal a little bit easier. And on 4th down, Green Bay can just run it down to the point where they'll take all the time off the clock, leave the Giants with nothing. But the Giants will get the ball when we start the second half. They won the toss at the beginning of the game and deferred. So Crosby will come on and try to make it an 11-point game at halftime.
David Bakhtiari against Jason Pierre-Paul coming here. Now watch him slip at the end of this. One of the things that Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, was concerned about is that this field can be a little slippery. He went back in and encouraged all of his players to put on those longer spikes. Now a lot of people don't like to do that, feeling like it puts their knees and ankles in a little jeopardy. So you just wonder how that conversation went with Jason Pierre-Paul.
44-yard attempt on what, barring a penalty, will be the final play of the opening half. And Crosby sends it through the uprights to make it 17-6. Green Bay at halftime. And the third quarter begins with a touchback, and a flag is down as the Packers must have come across the line too early, because the flag is down from just about the spot of the kickoff. And Hockley is tonight's referee and will give us the call shortly after these words from your local station.
Offside by the kicking team, number 29. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
Well, it seems a little one-sided Green Bay's way, but it could have been the other way. Eli Manning had plenty of opportunities. This one to Odell Beckham, wide open on a 3rd and long or 2nd and long, whatever that one was. Here's another one. That one's behind Victor Cruz. This was probably the killer because that was going to be a touchdown. And then the next play, the sack fumble, courtesy of Kyler Fackrell. So the Giants are behind, but it's not like there aren't things that are possible out there. And I remind you once again, the Packers playing without their 2 starting cornerbacks, so there will be opportunities, but they're going to have to get these other guys involved a little bit. Victor Cruz, Sterling Shepard, you know, even a guy like Bobby Rainey coming out of the backfield, just balancing it out a little bit.
Well, Cruz hasn't caught a pass tonight. Was targeted once. Shepard's been targeted a couple of times. He has not caught anything. And Beckham has those 3 grabs. Ty has 1. Rainey has 2. So a re-kick. This gives Harris a chance to run it back from the 2-yard line. And Harris gets out to about the 28-yard line. And we go to Michelle.
Well, I talked to Ben McAdoo at halftime, and he told me on offense they have got to keep the pocket clean and they have got to find completions. As you referenced, Eli Manning just 6 completions in the first half. As for Mike McCarthy on their offense, he said they slowed it down a little slower than usual for the Packers offense because they want to get more players involved. And he acknowledged Aaron Rodgers' 2 interceptions as being uncharacteristic, but he said we'll be fine.
or as Chris Banjo is the guy who needs some attention, as Aaron Rodgers will tell the fan base from time to time, relax.
Relax.
So the big 3, the Giant receivers, Beckham with those 3 grabs, Shepard and Cruz blank. The Giants, almost every time they've come up to the line of scrimmage this year, line up in what they call 11 personnel, 1-1, which means it's 1 running back, 1 tight end. And what that means is you got the 3 receivers, and they just don't want to take these guys out of the game.
Yeah, but you got to throw it to them if you're going to play them, or you might as well go, you know, play goal line out there. These are explosive playmakers. These are the guys that have to win you football games. There's no question about it. This is a dinged up Green Bay Packers secondary. This is the perfect opportunity, and I still think they'll get to it here. There were too many opportunities missed in that first half.
So the first scrimmage play of the second half from the 28-yard line. Start with a run and a yard, maybe two, for Orleans Darkwa. That Packer defense coming in, an otherworldly 1.8 yards per attempt allowed, which is unbelievable. And the Giants in this game are averaging less than 2 yards per rush. 8 rushes, 15 yards. Manning from the pocket, and this time he hits Shepard. So the rookie makes his first grab out of Oklahoma. He was the #2 draft choice last year, and a first down.
Orleans Darkwa here going to give a little help here against Mike Daniels coming out. Those kind of rib shots right there are remembered for a long time. Defensive linemen hate those.
From the 39-yard line. Giants have only 5 first downs in the game. Packers have 15. And Darkwa again, and that it's just impossible to run against these guys this year. Jake Ryan makes the tackle. So the total yardage allowed in 3 games, 128, 1.8 yards per carry, which is insane. More than a quarter of the carries has lost yardage. 1 carry allowed of only 10 yards or more. That's by far the fewest in the NFL. And again tonight, just on that same pace. Rainey is in the backfield with Manning on 2nd down and 11. Eli stepping up, look out from behind, and gets tackled. And sooner or later, Clay Matthews had to be involved in the action, and he was.
Well, it's been a tough night so far for Eric Flowers, the left tackle, working out here as Flowers going to try and come back and meet him. And now you're talking about the run defense, and I'll say this, the pass rush as well. The Green Bay Packers have basically played this whole game with 2 deep safeties to take away the deep threat of these receivers. If you can't run against that look with those safeties sitting in the middle of the field, you'll never be able to run.
3rd down and 14. And he dumps it off underneath, but it will be short of the first down as Rainey can only take it out to the 43. And of course, you know, on top of that, Chris, the Giants going without what would be their #1 and 2 running backs in Jennings and Vereen.
And there's no question about it that Dom Capers is just daring Ben McAdoo to run the football, saying you can't do it. My big guys up front are winning the battles time after time, and he's exactly right.
8 years as the defensive coordinator under McCarthy. Here's wing into punt. This will be his 4th. Trevor Davis. Short kick. Flag thrown. Kick goes out of bounds at about the 28-yard line. And the flag thrown back at about the 24. Ben McAdoo, first year after Tom Coughlin had been the Giants coach for the last 12. McAdoo spent the last 2 seasons as the Giants offensive coordinator. And when Tom stepped away at the end of last season, McAdoo ascended.
During the punt, holding by the receiving team, #28. So 10 yards will be enforced from where the kick went out of bounds. First down.
And that's Josh Hawkins. 17-6, home team.
Aaron Rodgers probably always takes his offensive lineman out to dinner, but I'm going to say this week they might get double steaks because there has been no action in that big blue circle around him all day long or all night long as he just continues to stand and look around, dance around, and complete passes. You almost feel sorry in some ways for this Giants secondary because they're having to defend for so long against one of the great quarterbacks in football.
Porterhouse or ribeye? What do you think?
As Jerry Jones used to say, both. Remember those commercials.
From the 16-yard line. Straight ahead to the 19. Eddie Lacy, that's a gain of 3. 2nd down and 7 upcoming.
And there was so much conversation. You hit on it earlier about Eddie Lacy and all his stuff, and he worked with Tony Horton and all the different things. And so we asked him, did you change your diet to do anything? He said, yeah, I lost a little weight. And he said, did you change your diet? He said, well, I am Southern, and you can't really change your diet. You just manage it a little bit. That's my new word. I'm going to manage my diet for a while, too.
Call the quarterback a game manager. Lacy makes the grab and then taken down from behind at the 21-yard line by Jason Pierre-Paul. Gain of a couple. 3rd down and 5.
Now, one thing you know is that Jason Pierre-Paul is going to be a guy that will always give you maximum effort. Even when he's out of the play, he's not out of the play. Get back and get involved in that one on the tail end, and almost had a chance to strip that thing out.
3rd and 5. Again, good protection. And then the coverage is good as well. Keenan Robinson on the tight end, Richard Rogers, so it's 4th down.
Keenan Robinson's had himself a game in coverage. He knocked one away down there on the goal line and comes right back on another big 3rd down play to give this offense one more shot. Came from Washington, and they are really very pleasantly surprised with him, kind of up and down his career in Washington, but 2 big plays tonight.
And this is Beckham, who goes back to receive the punt and makes a fair catch at the 46-yard line. Another very short punt by Shum of 33 yards. Giant ball. Swing pass caught by Beckham, and they get Beckham the ball on a little swing to the outside, and he picks up about 6 or 7 yards.
Very nice. A little creativity there. That time they go empty backfield, and they're going to put their best player, Odell Beckham, right back here, just swing it out. And basically he's just going to outrun the linebacker, Jake Ryan. A nice pickup here. Spread them out. These guys are missing corners. Make them play.
2nd and 4. And that's Bobby Rainey. It's one of the better runs of the night. I can get 3 yards. That's saying something.
Yeah, let's give them some credit inside. LaTroy Guion and Mike Daniels, Dayton Jones, Kenny Clark, all those guys have just been doing a masterful job allowing them to double up with those safeties against these wide receivers. Those explosive plays just have not happened.
Rainey is the back on 3rd and 1. Give it to him, and he does get the 1st down. So a 2-yard pickup. Takes the ball to the 42-yard line with 9 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Temperature was 54 at the start of the game. Right now we're down into the mid-40s.
It's Green Bay.
It is.
Welcome to Green Bay. Here we go. Big rookie right there. You got Kenny Clark taking Weston Richburg, who really struggled against Linval Joseph of the Vikings, just overpowering the Packers. Were going to try and do the same thing to him tonight. Let's get a little push.
From the 42, quick toss to the outside, and that's caught by Rainey. Rainey breaking a tackle, and it takes it down to the 25-yard line. So the Giants on the move, down by 11.
Now they're doing what they should be doing, which is they have weapons. Spread the ball around, spread the field. They're missing cornerbacks. Let's get some one-on-one matchups. Rainey is the guy that's sort of taken over for Shane Vereen, who's their receiving back. He can do some good things for them.
Rookie Paul Perkins out of UCLA is the back here. They fake it to him. They fake it to Beckham on an end around. Swing it to Perkins, who had a big play last week at Minnesota, and the rookie takes the ball to the 11-yard line. Another 1st down.
Now they're using Odell Beckham in this half as a decoy. They're going to bring him around, and it's going to get people's attention. allowing the screen to sneak out here. Wherever Odell Beckham goes, there are going to be a lot of people going that way, and they threw to him so much the first half. Now as a decoy, he's actually much more valuable.
First down from the 11. Manning looking that way, and he's going to get sacked. Nick Perry having a real good year, making his mark. The one-time #1 pick back in 2012 out of UCLA.
Talk about using your hands. Watch this one now. Nick Perry's going to just swat Flowers. Flowers drops his head, and Nick Perry just slams down on top of his head and goes right around him.
Sorry, Trojanville out of USC. Perkins out of UCLA in the backfield. Give it to him. Inside handoff. Takes the ball to the 13-yard line. 3rd and long. Giants for over a year now. Big problems in the red zone. 9 turnovers. Next to last since the beginning of last season. Third and 12. Beckham comes into the slot on the left. 3-man rush. Manning's going to take off. Can only get to the 12-yard line. So again, red zone problems for the Giants. They'll have to settle for a field goal, which would make it a 1-possession game.
There's Beckham there. They're dropping 8 men in coverage. They're not going to give up anything cheap. Coming across the zone. There was really nowhere to go. They were going to get it. Nice call by Dom Capers. Everybody covered up. Forced Eli to run. One thing they are not worried about is Eli Manning running the football. They were very clear about that.
That would be correct. 30-yard attempt off the foot of Josh Brown, just inside the right upright. 5.5 to go in the third. It's an 8-point game. Green Bay on top. So touchback there, and we're at Lambeau Field. And for those of you who are watching
whatever else
other programming tonight, aloha and welcome to Lambeau Field, where it's 17-9. The Green Bay Packers on top, and we're going to fact check you.
Oh boy! All right, let's go for it.
The keys to tonight's game have been for you.
No question, the Green Bay Packers offensive line has basically kept this defensive line, the pass rushers of the Giants, off. And Eli Manning, quite frankly, missing about 4 big opportunities. It's still a 1-score game, almost remarkably, because it's felt like the Packers all the way.
And Rodgers has had spectacular protection, and once again, Nelson can't hold on. It'll be 2nd down and 10. A little recap here. Hot start for Green Bay. They scored in their first drive, but Rodgers with 2 touchdowns and 2 picks, both by Janoris Jenkins, picked up in the offseason from the Rams. Eli with a fumble lost, sacked 3 times. Beckham, fairly quiet night, all things considered, especially after last week. 4 catches, 48 yards, and no extracurricular stuff going on.
319. Hey, Cobra over, Cobra over, Cobra over, Cobra over. 319. 319.
319, Cobra over, and the toss to Lacy up to the 27-yard line. Statistically, take a look at that. Rushing yardage for New York, negligible. Green Bay, meanwhile, thanks to Lacy, 119. Total yardage, and Green Bay picked up a lot of that in the first quarter. And the 2 interceptions, creating the 2 turnovers, and the sack fumble by Manning, the Giant turnover. Ben McAdoo, the Giants rookie head coach, first year, 39 years old, coaching in his 5th game. The Giants coming in with a record of 2-2. 3rd and 8. Rodgers voiding, and nobody is open. So again, that Giant defense especially after that first drive when Green Bay marched down the field 16 plays into the end zone. They went equal to the task.
Jordy Nelson on the outside against tonight's star for the Giants, Janoris Jenkins. Cobb on the other side working against the veteran Leon Hall. Nothing doing, and I almost feel like giving the Giants defense a round of applause because they have kept this team in the game, and once again Eli's going to get another opportunity.
He will, and there's the kick by Shum. You got a flag that comes in here. Green Bay converted 4 third downs on that first drive, and since then 1. Giants have stopped them on almost every third down opportunity the Packers have had since that opening drive.
You know, you're allowed to be pushed out of bounds if you're one of those gunners, but Jeff Janis has to get back in bounds. You can't just run, you know, in behind Ben McAdoo over there and get away with it. Jeff Janis is a guy that can run, though. They've got a lot more speed on this team this year than Trevor Davis and Jeff Janis and Jared Abbrederis, a guy that Aaron Rodgers would love to see on the field more.
Unsportsmanlike conduct by the by the kicking team, number 83. He went out of bounds, remained out of bounds as he covered the punt. That is unsportsmanlike conduct. 15 yards added to where the ball went out of bounds. First down.
Jeff Janis, what?
There we go. He's going to go out of here and stay over there. It's okay. You can get pushed out, but now you have to go fight your way almost immediately back into the field to play. A lot easier to run down that white stripe, but it's the reason they don't let you do it.
So the penalty will tack on the extra yardage.
You know, here we are again. They're sitting there at midfield, and you got Super Bowl MVP quarterback, some great receivers on the outside.
You got Lacey on the table being looked at on the Green Bay sideline. Toss to Beckham. It goes all the way back, and Beckham looks to throw. Nothing is happening there. And then he gets banged out of bounds into the Green Bay bench and tells Micah Hyde, no problem.
And that was definitely a reverse pass. They had routes going down the field. You'll see Odell Beckham putting it in his right hand and really should have just thrown this thing out of bounds. I know he doesn't know the quarterback rules, but at that point, Cruz was going to go in, and then here he goes, and Morgan Burnett and Quentin Rollins weren't biting.
6-yard loss sets up a 2nd down and 16 from the 43. Under 4 to go in the quarter. Manning got hit as he throws, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Sterling Shepard. So it's 3rd down and a mile.
Yeah, and a mile for Eric Flowers at the left tackle position too. You can tell it's Eli's starting to think about it a little bit now, that if on every play you're getting hit in some way, shape, or form from that blind side, not much fun.
Manning completing 50%, 11 of 22 for 141 yards. 3rd and 16. 4-man pressure. Batted down at the line of scrimmage, flag down as well. Ed Hockley looking over at the bench to
holding
say
offense
decline.
number 67. The penalty is declined. Brings up 4th down.
Justin Pugh.
Yeah, it's tough when you put a guy like Julius Peppers or Dayton Jones inside. This time Dayton Jones, and right there you could see Justin Pugh, who's really played very well at that left guard position all year, giving it up. And the Giants net offense on that drive -5 or 6.
Well, Julius Peppers has had a few of those in his career, which should wind up someday with an induction speech in Canton.
I would agree.
Brad Wing, this will be his 5th punt of the night. And at the 18-yard line, Trevor Davis, he did not call for the fair catch, and the Giants corral him at the 18-yard line. Kennard making the tackle. 3.5 left in the third. 8-point game. There is the wrap left lower leg of Lacey. Starks is in the game. They put Ripkowski, a fullback, in with him in this set from the 20-yard line. And Starks spinning away. And Starks with a good run and a first down. Gain of 11 as we go to Michelle.
And Eddie Lacy was applauding that run as he's sitting here on the trainer's table with ice around that left ankle, officially questionable after he tried to go back in with that foot spatted, that ankle spatted, but for now questionable. Also safety Chris Banjo questionable with a hamstring injury, and remember that secondary has both starting corners out as well, Al.
They do, Michelle. Banjo also special teams maven. Lacey had carried 11 times for 81 yards tonight. First down at the 30.
Pylon for you. Green 18. Green 18.
Play action. All night again. Rogers fires out to the 50-yard line. Devontae Adams taken down by Landon Collins. Gain of 20.
Well, when you just break off a run like that and then you go play action, the defensive linemen tend to play run first. But this is as much time as I've seen a quarterback have all season. I mean, this offensive line is doing this to perfection. Look at the space. Aaron Rodgers does a great job gliding around, but you just can't cover down the field for 5 seconds.
Green 18. Green 18.
From the 50. Starts. 4-yard gain. Rodgers still under 50%. It's something that's only happened once in his career at Lambeau. Our statistical maven George Hill pointed out to me. On third down, the Packers were 5 for 5 to start the game, but the Giants have stayed in the game by denying them on 7 straight third down opportunities. Right now it's 2nd and 6.
And the interesting thing with Eddie Lacy being out of the game, James Starks is really the only other running back. Aaron Ripkowski is a fullback. I guess you begin to go to Ty Montgomery and Randall Cobb with some of those sets where they go back into the backfield.
And out of a diamond formation here. Starks is going to cut it back, and that's a 3rd down and 4. So here you go. After they were 5 for 5, they are now 0 for their last 7 on 3rd down with a minute to go in the 3rd.
Yeah, and it's tough when you're running against Snacks Harrison in there. That's one of my favorite nicknames. I really do like that nickname. It's like, it's subtle, you know what I mean? You know, he's a big guy, but he's not fat. He's, you know, he doesn't have donuts. He just has snacks. It's perfect.
Better than pork chop, right? Remember?
Yeah, I like pork chop too.
3rd and 4 from the 44.
Be careful the hard count now.
Snaps it at 1. And the pass is caught. That's a first down. That's Cobb, and he stays in bounds, and he gets taken down by Adams. So that streak of stopping them on 3rd down for the Giants comes to a halt. The ball will be spotted at the 23-yard line.
That time they end up with the safety, Landon Collins, on your best slot receiver and quickest guy, and Randall Cobb. That was a nice job by Aaron Rodgers to find that matchup and then deliver a perfect shot.
And that's going to take us to the 4th quarter. After 3, it is Green Bay 17 and the Giants 9, and Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. Quarterback comparison. Go figure that one out. Both guys under 50%.
And both secondaries banged up coming in here.
Yeah. Did not figure. It's first down for Green Bay at the New York 23-yard line. Take the Starks. Rodgers time, fires, and it's incomplete at the goal line. Crowd looking around for a flag. There's none. Nelson, the intended receiver. Jenkins right there. Big time matchup.
Double move on the outside by Jordy Nelson here, but Janoris Jenkins has almost single-handedly kept this Giants team in this game. I mean, somehow or another, he is earning whatever they paid him. You just check him off the list. All right, he's paid in full right now.
Cobra Oscar, Cobra Oscar, Oscar, Oscar.
With Jenkins on Nelson again. Keep it on the ground. Starks. He will go nowhere. That's Vernon. Knocking them down for a loss of a couple. How these teams doing in their divisions? Dallas won again today. 4 straight. Philly lost for the first time. Washington a winner. Giants are 2-2 at the moment. Meanwhile, Minnesota 5-0. And the Packers at 2-1. Had a bye week. Detroit a winner today and Chicago a loser today.
Vikings the only undefeated team now, I think.
See Philadelphia. And that is correct. Philly going down 3rd down and 11. Rodgers to the outside to Starks. And he'll get tackled just short of a first down by Casillas. So what is McCarthy going to do here in the 4th down? You have to go for the field goal
more than
here.
1-score game, right?
Right, absolutely.
You know, and the way your defense is playing, why not? I mean, we haven't really seen any sign of life. We've seen Eli make plenty of late comebacks in his career, but sooner or later they have to do something in this one.
Crosby with a 33-yarder that's good. Early 4th quarter, Green Bay 20 and the Giants 9. Off the goalpost for a touchback. 13:46 in regulation. Manning and company back to work at Lambeau. Victor Cruz, real good guy. We were there in Philadelphia on a Sunday night. Tore up his knee. Had another problem last year, another operation, calf. Spent a year and a half on the shelf. Still trying to get him into the game tonight, basically. Big run on the outside, and this is Bobby Rainey able to take it for a first down.
There you go. Well, you finally get a run. Here are the 2 deep safeties we're talking about, but this time you're going to end up with a defensive end crashing inside, just misreading that play. I think it was Julius Peppers, and left no one setting the edge there on the outside. So a good start to this drive, and the Giants desperately need to get a little running game going to keep those 2 free safeties from just sitting back there and taking away all the big play possibilities.
14 yards for Rainey, longest run against the Packers this season in almost 4 full games, and that's an underthrown pass and all kinds of contact with Quentin Rollins and Victor Cruz getting hooked up.
Well, that was a rare one, a rare opportunity with just 1 safety in the middle of the field, so you get a chance to go deep. And Cruz, I think, was thinking back shoulder the whole way, but so was Quentin Rollins. And because Rollins was looking back at the football, no call.
From the 39-yard line, it's 2nd down and 10. Manning checking off underneath and then throwing it behind Beckham. Running through the middle. The shallow cross there. It's 3rd down and 10.
Well, Eli tried to make an off-balance throw there, but he did have time. That time the protection was good enough. He stepped up and tried to sort of do a fadeaway jumper back to Odell, who had a little room.
McAdoo, play caller, as well as the head coach. Perkins is now in the backfield.
All the pass rushers in, and Perkins not a good blocker.
Blitz there, pass tip, incomplete. Joe Thomas, the linebacker, got a hand on it, intended for Shepard, and the Giants quickly 3 and out.
That was a big play that time by Thomas, because Shepard had some room coming across there, and I think would have had the first down against Micah Hyde. But Thomas able to jump up as that nickel linebacker and make the play, and Eli knew that one had a chance.
Eli now 11 of 26 tonight. Brad Wing has been busy. This will be his 6th punt. as he sends it down to the 20-yard line, where it's fair caught there by Trevor Davis. 2 minutes into the fourth quarter, Green Bay up by 11. Rodgers to work from the 20-yard line. And again with Lacy on the bench, they give it to Starks. It's a gain of 1 to the 21. Second down and 9.
We've been talking about this Packers offensive line all night long. You know, Josh Sitton playing with the Bears, but across the board, every one of these offensive linemen either ranked in the top 10, 4 out of 5, or top 15 for Lane Taylor coming in. They are the best pass protecting group in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. One blocking not bad either at 13th.
And they are proving it tonight. I mean, Rodgers has had all night sitting in the pocket. And when he does get flushed out eventually, you know what he does from the outside. This time he does get some pressure, but he steps away as he does so often, and it's almost picked off again. Intended for Devontae Adams. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
But it was Andrew Adams who had it go right through his hands. That could have been a game changer there. I think that is Adams back there. Little pressure inside, and Rodgers made an off-balance throw, but that went right through the mitts. That could have been interception number 3 for Aaron Rodgers, and really should have been. Did that get tipped? Well, couldn't quite tell if Adams was able to get a hand on it or not.
Barely deflected. 3rd down and 9. And Rodgers throws. That is caught. And staying on his feet and getting the first down is Cobb and a lot more. And then he drops the ball, but after the play was over. So Cobb was going to be stopped. Green Bay was going to have to punt. Broke away, breaking tackles, takes the ball out to the 38-yard line.
It just can't happen. Great play by Randall Cobb, but you have 2 linebackers there missing tackles. I believe it was Keenan Robinson and Jonathan Casilla. But you have to be able to finish the deal on a guy that weighs about 195 pounds. 3rd down, you're off the field. You have another chance. Huge missed tackles.
And 8 catches tonight for 95 for Cobb, who had a touchdown call back on a penalty. Rodgers throws, and that pass is caught. Jordy Nelson along the sideline. Jenkins is right there. Jenkins arguing the call, and what Jenkins wants McAdoo to do is throw the challenge flag.
I don't think you're going to have enough from that view to challenge it. That looked like a catch. He got his hand in there, and it almost looked like it was Jenkins' hand that kept it off the ground. Well, that window was about a foot by a foot that he could fit that one in.
Well, McAdoo is going to throw the challenge flag here, and so this will be looked at by Hockley and company to see if they take away.
The ruling in the field that the pass was complete.
And it would be a 12-yard gain for a first down, and the ball would be at the 50. We'll see when we come back.
The ruling in the field that the pass was complete stands as called. The Giants are charged with their first timeout.
I actually like how they're doing the stands a lot more this year, unless it is absolutely decisive, and that clearly was, and I thought it was almost decisive that it was a catch. But you're seeing more and more and more that unless it's a no-brainer, it just stands. I think that's the right way to do replay.
Right. You don't see enough there to overturn it. Could be significant that the Giants lose the timeout as we head down the stretch. They're down by 11 with exactly 11 minutes to go. First down of the 50-yard line. Starks runs into a wall, squirts away for a yard, maybe 2. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
For Aaron Rodgers, some of his numbers fell off, especially a season ago, and a lot of those issues were issues throwing outside the numbers. Just not as good as it was back in 2014, which was unbelievable, 2008 to 14. And I asked him specifically about it and why he thought that was. He said, we just didn't have the kind of speed that we had. You know, Jordy Nelson was gone, Jeff Janis, as Trevor Davis comes in to add some speed. But back shoulder throws only work when you can scare people down the field, and they couldn't do that last year. Oh, wow, look out.
Vernon comes in, puts pressure on, but he gets it away to Nelson. Flag is down before he gets chased out of bounds. What would be close to an 18-yard gain. We'll have to wait right now for the call. It was 2nd down and 9.
Before the pass was thrown, holding defense. That penalty is declined. Play results in a 1st down.
So give Nelson credit for a 17-yard reception, and the ball now at the 32-yard line.
Olivier Vernon almost going to get a little pressure around the outside, beating Bulaga there. But then the old dreaded pick that wasn't a pick play, and you're outside running, and there's a stack of 3 linebackers in traffic. Nothing Janoris Jenkins could do.
Starks. He gets bounced down at just about the line of scrimmage. So Cobb, who was going to be stopped on 3rd down, big broken tackle here, getting away from the linebacking core, moving the chains, and right now they're clearly in scoring territory.
Yeah, and congratulations to Randall Cobb. He got engaged, actually graduated from the University of Kentucky as well this offseason. Very determined young man. I'll tell you, it was fun watching him in college at the University of Kentucky. He played every position there was on the field.
So tonight, 8 catches for him, 95 yards. Rodgers, clock ticking down to 9 minutes. Just does get it off before the play clock expires, and crawling his way down to the 23-yard line is Devontae Adams. Be a little slow in getting up. Mark it just short of the 1st down.
What an incredible effort, though. One-handed bear crawl, or whatever you want to call it, but that was because he was hit, so he definitely would have been down, and he almost crawled his way for that 1st down. Now you're putting a tremendous amount of pressure on all parts of your body trying to do that. That was a great effort.
An injury, momentary timeout here to let Adams get back to the bench. And that's going to make it 3rd down and 1 now at the 23-yard line.
Yeah, and now there is no shortage of wide receivers around here, though. This Trevor Davis can absolutely fly. He's very green, doesn't know exactly what he's doing. He's in there right now, number 11. Jeff Janis, we saw him in the playoff game. We know what he can do. Aberderis, they love.
Jason Spriggs reports eligible, number 78 on this play. And give it to the fullback, Rukowski, and he, doing his best John Kuhn imitation, takes the ball all the way to the 10-yard line. Took everybody with him. Everybody.
They might have to go out for a pint after that scrum. Watch the big guy right here, TJ Lang, get this whole scrum started. Going right behind him, and he never stopped. Just kept pushing and pushing down the field. Here comes the guys. Everybody play. I love that. I never saw that when I played football. Now the scrums are like a usual thing anymore. That's fun. Crowd goes crazy, too.
Oh, they loved it.
Let's go.
And it sets up a 1st down and goal.
Green 18.
Looking at diamond formation with Starks at the top. Starks is going to get wrestled down after a gain of 3. Rogers Cromartie making the tackle halfway through the 4th quarter. 2nd down and goal.
Boy, does this Giants defense have one more stand in them, because they have been battling all night long. And because their offense simply has not been able to do anything in this game, they're going to have to find a way to stand up here and force a field goal. 3 field goals for the Giants tonight, and a team that came in ranked 27th. Only put 3 points on the board 3 times. Not good enough here.
Rogers milking every second off that clock. And all kinds of time. Surveying. Throws. Corner end zone incomplete. Intended for Richard Rogers. And that'll set up a 3rd down and goal.
Just a perfectly thrown ball. Absolutely perfect. There is nothing the defense can do with this ball. This ball was thrown a yard out of bounds, and only Richard Rodgers could catch it, which he should have. But that's exactly what you want from your quarterback. Zero danger in that throw.
This will be the 12th play of the drive, and he's taken a lot of time off the clock. There were 13 minutes left when it started. 6:46 right now. 3rd and goal. He throws intended for Nelson in the corner of the end zone, but the coverage is good by Trevin Wade, and the Giants are able to at least keep it within a 2-possession game as the field goal group comes in.
Fire the safety blitz. Andrew Adams coming right through, unblocked. Rodgers had no choice but to get it out of there, and that was Trevin Wade, who struggled a week ago, coming up with a big play. At least keeping this game the possibility that Eli could put together a late couple of drives.
25-yard attempt for Crosby, who's made 44 and 33-yard field goals tonight, and his 3rd one right through the uprights here with 6:39 remaining in the 4th. Green Bay 23 and the Giants 9. So Eddie Lacy walking around on the sideline, hasn't played since he came out of the game early in the 4th. Kickoff here will be fielded at the goal line. This is Bobby Rainey up through the middle, and Bobby Rainey with a good run back out to the 37-yard line. 6.5 left in the 4th. Giants with Manning down by 14. The Giants, can they mount something from the 37-yard line? Manning deep down the middle, and it's almost picked off. Morgan Burnett almost picking it off. 2nd down.
Came out and he was looking for, I think right there, Odell Beckham coming that way. Didn't find it, threw it up late and caught a break. That one wasn't picked off by Morgan Burnett. Knocked out when he fell to the ground. But little tip of the cap out there to Micah Hyde, who is really playing this slot corner. Done a great job in a tough circumstance for him.
And Eli has to dump it off underneath. Look out, but breaking a tackle and at least getting a little bit of yardage is Bobby Rainey, at least getting a little of it back. Lost to 1 overall, 3rd down and 11.
Well, missed him late. But for Ben McAdoo, who without question this job was his because of how Eli Manning was playing. That's the reason he got the job. It has been a disappointing few games here lately.
Giants started the season with a couple of wins over Dallas and New Orleans, and then back-to-back defeats, Washington and Minnesota. On the verge of one tonight as Manning escapes, throws on the run, caught at the 50-yard line, and then is able to extend it. And catches made by Jarrell Adams, who would be your number 2 tight end tonight, and 3 overall had Larry Donnell been healthy, rookie out of South Carolina.
Not even close. By far the best play Eli Manning's made tonight.
Flag down, Manning goes down, ball loose. Defense may have had too many guys on the field. Jaron Elliott creates the fumble there. Too many guys on the field. That's the preliminary indication already. You can see this right here at the bottom.
There we go. Those guys running off late. Jaron Elliott, he likes Sunday night football.
There were fouls by both teams on the play. Illegal shift by the offense. Number 13. There was also 12 men in the field defense. Those penalties offset. Replay, 1st down.
Okay. Ben McAdoo, he was interviewed for the Philadelphia job, as we take a look at what happens here.
That's a tough night tonight for Eric Flowers. He's been playing okay, but tonight has been Nothing but a train wreck. The Green Bay Packers have studs playing outside linebacker, and they have depth too.
Back to 1st and 10. And that's caught. Ty, and he's going to almost give up the football and comes close to getting a first down.
Well, you just wonder how much different this game might have been if Will Tye had been able to come up with that pass from Eli Manning just before the half, and then the sack fumble and turn around. They got the field goal out of it.
Huge swing. Manning, it's caught by Shepard, but only a 3-yard gain. Talking about McAdoo, was interviewed for the Philadelphia job last year. So was Tom Coughlin. Of course, he wound up going to Doug Peterson, and Ben was telling us the other day he was actually interviewed for the head coaching job at Cleveland back in 2014 before he went to New York as the offensive coordinator. 2nd down and 6 now. Clock ticking down to 4:20. Eli under pressure, loses the ball.
Incomplete.
Yep, well, he's coming forward. Flowers is right there, so arm going ahead. It'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, and Paul Perkins, the young rookie, was trying to sneak out here and give him something, and Eli hit him in the derriere there.
A euphemism for something?
I don't know. Debate, I guess.
3rd and 6. Screen set up, and that's going to be a first down as Bobby Rainey comes out of the backfield. So the Giants on the move, but the clock's on the move as well. Under 4 to play.
Yeah, anytime you get a blitz to one side and the screen to the same side, you feel pretty good about that. They came with a lot of pressure. Morgan Burnett coming off the blitz on that side, and Eli saw it.
Timeout was called by Green Bay before that last snap. As a conference here, Green Bay was subbing.
Yeah, so the Giants subbed, so the referee is going to sit right there and not let him snap it. I think they snapped it between his legs too.
Right.
Trying to get that 5-yard penalty. That's not where you want to be when a play starts.
And even McCarthy can laugh about it.
The offense substituted. Number 28 came out of the bench area. Therefore, we were holding up the ball as is required by rule when the ball was snapped. There is no foul on the play. There is no play. It is first down.
Well, you see, J. Ron Elliott loves Sunday Night Football.
And there was no timeout charged to Green Bay. No timeout charged to Green Bay.
That's a good call.
The clock will start when I blow my whistle.
And Ed Hockley loves Sunday Night Football too.
Yes, he does. Little hint of pink for Ed Hockley as well. Good for him.
He didn't want to go shirt sleeves tonight. It's about 44 degrees at the moment. Manning retreats, swings it to the outside. That's caught by Adams. And the tight end with his second grab on this drive is forced out of bounds at about the 13-yard line.
Yeah, Jarrell Adams, an interesting guy, rookie, 6th rounder, but he was a basketball player, but ran 4.64, long and lanky. Only played 8 snaps coming in here, but because of that injury to Larry Donnell, getting a chance and taking advantage.
First down to the 13-yard line. 3.5 to play.
It looks like Odell Beckham in one-on-one coverage, but really not with that safety help.
Through the middle. There goes Perkins down to the 6-yard line. 5'11", 208-pound rookie out of UCLA. There's Jordy Nelson looking up at the board and the clock. Ticking down to 3 minutes. It's 2nd down and 5.
Well, you wonder what these rookies in the game right now know as far as this audible system is concerned. 2 key rookies, 3 key rookies in there.
Manning. Lion time. Fires to the back of the end zone. Wow. Touchdown. What a grab by Beckham. Throw was high. I thought he threw it over his head when it left Manning's hands. Odell goes up, makes the catch, Crowd is looking at the replay. Did he get both feet in with possession is the question.
Let's see.
Mm.
And boy, the referee had as good a look as anybody, but oh man, he didn't put his heel on the ground, did he?
Ruling on the field.
Did that toe go down without the heel? Because remember, if that heel doesn't touch, then the toe is what counts. But if the heel touches, then he would be out of bounds.
That's the whole thing. Is the right toe down completely in bounds before the heel is down, where the heel is clearly on the white?
You could see he was desperately trying to keep that heel off the ground. I talked about it earlier. They have a lot of plays that just stand. Is there enough to overturn the call of a touchdown on the field? See, I think the back cleat is off the ground. I don't think they're going to overturn it. What do you think?
I think I think they're going to overturn it. I just think that they're going to look at this and think that his foot was on the boundary.
All right.
But I'm like 55-45 on this.
Let's see. You can call it at home. This official is looking right down at that foot. Now, if the front part is on the white, definitely out of bounds. I can't. It's pretty darn clever stuff from Odell, whether it counts or not.
Great play, great catch. He's looking up at it.
Yeah, that's
might not be enough to overturn. I mean, the official is right there. There's nothing conclusive down the line. Look, I mean, that's as close as you're going to get. The ref's head is he's right there. So at the moment, I'm going to say it's going to stand now because I just don't see anything conclusive to overturn what the official just saw. I think that's the back judge. That was, I think, Scott Elverson, the back judge there, who had a bird's eye look at that baby.
The ruling on the field stands. It is a touchdown. There is no clear shot. It is clear and obvious that the foot was out of bounds.
I said it before, so I'm not coming off of it now. I like what they're doing with that. If it's obvious, change it. If it's not, let the officials play. But this is a ball game now.
Especially that the guy is right there. You talk about great officiating, at least on the field. You can't get it. Oh, that's classic.
That's the best one of the whole year so far.
Oh, my.
Of course, Odell Beckham earlier lost the battle with the kicking net. Took one in the chops. Comes back and gives it a kiss. There we go. We're all even now, kicking net.
That's his buddy.
That's great.
So Beckham, 5 catches, 56 yards. And Brown for the extra point. So Beckham finally gets his first touchdown of the season.
Let's watch the whole route here and take a good solid look at this one. Clinton Dix picked him up, then tried to plaster him in the back. The end zone, goes up and gets it, but to have the presence of mind to not let that heel get on the ground. I mean, it's just clever football. Clever football. Then Eli is going to take a shot at the tail end of that one, but he knew his guy was a leaper and a one-hander and all those sort of things. Just give him a chance.
Nick Perry able to knock him down. Just smile. He was able to do so there. Will they have a chance to smile again is the question. The Giants, do they onside kick it here with 2:54? Oh,
you know,
classic.
There's so much pressure in this game. You have to be able to laugh every once in a while.
That timeout we mentioned before, when they had to use it on the challenge, could now come back to be an issue. They have 2 timeouts. You also have the 2-minute warning. Hans' team is out there for Green Bay as they have to guard against the onside kick. And we'll see what Josh Brown has in mind.
Not really a pure Hans team situation. There you go.
And he's going to boot it down to about the 12-yard line. And you got Montgomery who's going to run it back out to the 35-yard line. So now Aaron Rodgers He's going to go to work. You know, the Green Bay Packers, they're in the midst of, they won't have to travel for a month and a half. This is the second of 4 home games. They don't have a road game until the end of the month. The Giants, meanwhile, are going to go home for 4 of their next 5. And their only road game is a neutral site game in London against the Rams. So some interesting stuff coming up.
Yeah, it is. And the NFC East, which had sort of become that division, everybody made a little fun of or whatever. But now with some of these young players, these young quarterbacks, 2 rookie quarterbacks starting in that division, it's becoming very competitive. And at least coming into today, they had the best overall record in football, that division.
The Washington Redskins started out 0-2. Now they've won 3 in a row, knocked off Baltimore today. Well, the Giants 2-2 coming in, and the Packers trying to go to 3-1 and try to keep pace with Minnesota already 5-0 from the 35 now. Work on the clock here. Starks goes to the outside, and he'll get taken down to the 32-yard line. So that's a loss right there. Vernon makes the tackle, and the Giants will use a timeout. 1 remaining plus the 2-minute warning.
We've talked about the lack of pressure, but there has been excellent play from everybody playing outside linebacker or defensive end when it comes to the running game tonight. I've only seen 1 real mistake in the whole evening, but it has almost been impossible to get out on the edge. So even though they don't pile up the sack numbers quite yet, Vernon and Jason Pierre-Paul certainly doing the job in the run game.
Odell rubbing his hands in anticipation of getting 1 more shot. The Giant defense right now has to do its job. 2nd down and 13 at the 32-yard line.
You've got arguably the best quarterback in football here, but you almost have to run to force them to burn that last timeout. And if you opt to throw on 3rd down, that could stop it again.
Rodgers, he dumps it off to Starks. And he loses the ball. The ball came out. The 35-yard line. Big scrum. Bulaga thinks he has it, but the Giants feel, at least Adams does.
I'm not sure he ever really had that ball. That was the strangest looking thing. He turned around and he was it just never settled into his body.
The Green Bay is going to wind up with the ball.
It was bizarre.
And Hockley says wind the clock as well.
Watch the football here. He's going to turn and it just flies out.
Almost winds up in Kelvin Shepard's arms, and he can't hold on to it.
I mean, it just, oh my goodness, for the New York Giants defensively with all they've done, if Shepard could have come up with that one.
Meanwhile, the clock is running, so McAdoo says timeout, and the clock ticked a couple of more seconds.
Giants. That's their 3rd and final timeout.
Well, McAdoo is saying he's put those seconds back on the clock. At least go back to 2:28, 2:29.
Right, and as they were trying to unpile.
2:30 when the timeout was called.
Even better, 2:30.
Yep, that's exactly right, because they had to unpile and figure out who had the ball, so they didn't start the play clock at that point, so the timeout was properly taken. But here we are back down to that, and I think they called that incomplete, right? So now it's going to be 3rd and 10. And now decision time as far as throwing the ball.
I think they're going to give him the catch on that. A 2-yard catch.
The ball was recovered 2 yards back right at the line of scrimmage.
Well, they put it down at the 35-yard line.
Right. They lost yardage on 1st down. That's right.
So now it's 3rd and 10. Giants must get a stop here. One time the clock will stop. 2-minute warning. And Rodgers will sling it to the outside, and that's going to be a big 1st down for Randall Cobb, who pays the price, takes a shot, but takes the ball out to the 48-yard line. On top of it, he stays in bounds, which is going to take us to the 2-minute warning after the injury timeout, hit by Landon Collins.
3 of the biggest plays in this game have come from Randall Cobb. No question about it. Here we go, just going to make that kind of a move, and think of the one where he broke the tackles before. Anybody want to doubt Randall Cobb right now? He has basically delivered almost every big play tonight for Aaron Rodgers, and he took a shot to the head there from Landon Collins.
Well, did the ball come out? He goes down.
I think his hip hit before anything happened anyway. No.
Well, he goes off the field, and then they wind the clock, and that's going to take us to the 2-minute warning, and there's going to be first down, and the Giants are out of timeouts. So it's been a huge struggle with Green Bay on the cusp of going to 3-1, 23-16 Green Bay. So Green Bay right now can take a couple of kneel downs. So the Giants, who started off with a win in Dallas on opening day, then eked one out over New Orleans, only to lose a fourth quarter lead against Washington. Went to Minnesota last week, and you know what happened there. So it has not been a very pleasant 2 trips to the upper Midwest for Beckham tonight. No extra stuff, really.
Well, a little extra love for the net.
A love for the net. That was about it. Nothing insidious, though. He doesn't need to get under the. He doesn't have to wind up in Dr. Ruth's chair next week. Everybody else in the world was weighing in.
Randall Cobb, a great night. Really key plays. And for Aaron Rodgers, we were tracking it all night. Average of 3.33 seconds per pass. An incredible amount of time to throw, and the ability of Aaron Rodgers to buy that time in many ways was the difference in the game.
So Aaron just barely over 50%. That's odd. Gets a little hug there from Ben McAdoo. Of course, the two worked together so closely over the years. Mike McCarthy, of course, hiring Ben, leading to this job, and their first confrontation ends with a Green Bay win.